Okay. I think that we are live now. Okay. I'm just here to tell you. Hi, folks. All right, come on in. Well, just a few of us here. I know we had a technical issue on James's side to start the show, and James cannot join us tonight. And also experiencing the same technical issue, Kelly. So it's just me. Yeah, I know, Byron. I'm sorry. It's just me. It's just me. And honestly, I don't know how long I'm going to stick around tonight. I had a whole show planned. You want to know what we were going to do? We were going to go through, today is the anniversary of MTV. We were going to go through with me, James, and Kelly. We were going to go through what they say are the 10 greatest videos of all time. And I thought that would have been just all kinds of fun. We were also going to break down Elon Musk's father, Errol Musk, went on an Australian radio show, talked all kinds of shit about his kid. I mean, he did. He talked all kinds of shit. But then also at the same time, it sounded like they were still close. And he's not impressed. Elon Musk's dad, not impressed. We were going to get into that. That was going to be fun. What else are we going to do? Oh, there's a whole Beyonce backlash. Beyonce has to apologize for something that's in her new album, Renaissance. Apparently it's called ableism. I don't know what it is, but we're going to talk about that. That's another thing. We had a whole show for you. Jeffrey's here. Leslie's here. Byron's here. Jeffrey says, so we're not good enough for you to do it? Oh, no, it's not that. Oh, heaven forbid. Heaven forbid, sweet child, that you get that idea from this. No. It's just that these are designed for an ensemble conversation. These are designed for, multiple people. And I don't want to do them. I don't want to do them because Kelly's going to be on tomorrow. And so is James. They'll get these issues fixed, and we'll have a normal. Hi, Bill. Hi, Leslie. And we'll have a normal show tomorrow. I do feel bad though. I mean, we were also going to talk about, I had this other topic that I wanted to talk to the crew. And by crew, I mean Kelly and James. I wanted to talk about, have you ever heard the term Nepo babies? Nepo babies. It's a whole thing. And it's a whole thing for a hundred years or so, 100 years of Hollywood for sure. But Nepo babies is apparently it's a TikTok account that is just blowing up, and all it does is it tracks Nepo babies in Hollywood, people who are in Hollywood who are crushing it as young actors or musicians or whatever, who maybe quietly have a super famous dad or a super connected mom or a grandfather who invented aluminum, something like that. So these are a new fad, calling out and tracking the whereabouts of the Nepo babies. I was going to go through that. Wouldn't that be great? Oh, and you know what kills me? So just from the Nepo baby, I won't go into the whole thing because I want to save this. I want to save this for Kelly and James. Dude by the name of Oliver Hudson, young actor. He's in his late 40s, not young. Oliver Hudson. He's one of these Nepo babies. And this was an article that was written by the Washington Post, and Oliver Hudson was, they said they reached out to 100 so-called Nepo babies, and none of them would respond to it because none of them want to pretend that it's a real thing, even though it is. But Oliver Hudson was one of the Nepo babies that responded to the Washington Times. Now, Oliver Hudson is the brother of Kate Hudson, who we all know. Kate Hudson is the daughter of Goldie Hawn and one of the Hudson brothers. The Hudson brothers were a band in the 1970s, and they had one or two hits. Goldie Hawn married one of the dudes in the Hudson brothers, and she had Oliver Hudson and Kate Hudson. So there you go. So that's his connection. That's this Oliver Hudson guy's connection to the Nepo babies thing. He's Goldie Hawn's kid. So Oliver Hudson to the Washington Post gave that old, stupid, it's so thoughtless, cliche of, sure, words to this effect. Well, sure, my mom may have gotten me the interview, but when push comes to shove, I can either do the job or I can't. So it all evens out. What do you mean it all evens out, you dummy? What are you doing? all evens out. How does that even make sense? You got a mating because of who your mom know. I mean, we're assuming, right, that this is all all other things being equal. You're all professional actors who, let's just assume for the sake of this conversation, you're all professional actors, and the job that you are going up for, you are all equally suited to pull off. Okay, so we'll just do that. You're all equally suited to pull off this. You're all actors. Everything is the same. But see, you got the meeting because your mom knew the guy or whatever. You got in the door, whereas the other guys who are not nepo babies, they didn't get in. And look, this is not about sour grapes. I mean, I'm just saying this is how it works. If your family is famous and they know people in the business, it's not just in Hollywood. It happens in all. If you're in the lumber business, and you've got a famous lumber business last name, you're probably going to get better looks than a guy who just, literally falls off the lumber truck. But it just bugged me. So, it all evens out. It doesn't even out because the people who are equally as talented as you, Oliver Hudson, never had a chance at getting in the room. You got in. That's half the battle. That's probably more than half the battle. So Nepo babies, that's a big thing. And there's like a whole bunch of these Nepo babies that I didn't even know about. Like, I'll give you an example. And it's not always Nepo babies. Like, Nepo babies suggest that somehow these are the children of famous people. It's not always that. Sometimes it's the little brother, the little sister, something like that, cousin, the niece of, stuff like that. People who found their way to Hollywood fame. And by the way, we're not talking about like the Kiefer Sutherlands or the Julia Robertses. The people, those are well established, older now, maybe second or third generation Nepo. We're talking about these current, like, there are kids all over with recording deals who are the children of famous people, people all over, like Disney Channel shows and all of these. Stranger Things is apparently just filled with these Nepo babies. Who's one of the Nepo babies from Stranger Things? Maya Hawke. Maya Hawke is a Nepo baby on Stranger Things. She is the daughter of Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman. So Maya Hawke is there. And then there's another one. There's another Nepo baby there. Who is it? I'm trying to think of it. Is it Maude Apatow? No, maybe not Maude Apatow. But there's another example. Anyway, they're all over the place. Well, you know what? Hey, I feel like I'm worked up on this. Why not? Yes, Alan Hale Jr., absolutely. But let's not forget Ed Begley Jr. Do you guys know who Ed Begley Sr. is? It's so funny because we all know who Ed Begley Jr. is. And his dad, Ed Begley Sr., is a dude that we all recognize from like old-timey movies. We just didn't know it was Ed Begley's dad. We're just like, oh, yeah, that guy. That guy was in a lot of black and white movies from the 50s. Nepo baby, Ed Begley. All right, let's jump into this. Why not? We'll give you some more examples of these. What is this? People shared which famous nepotism babies fully deserve to be successful because of their own talent and not just on their parents' names. Okay, so here is, what is this from? This is from BuzzFeed. I typically don't like to encourage the hijinks of a BuzzFeed, but why not? We're talking about these right now, and I'm going to save the Washington Post column till we have James and Kelly. Let's see here. Recently, the BuzzFeed community was asked which famous kids of famous parents deserve success in their own right, because a name can get you in the door, but it can't keep you in the room. Here's what they said. We should scroll through this since we can scroll through it. It comes with pictures. We like pictures, right? All right, why not? All right. Look at us doing a segment. Wasn't even planning on doing a show once Kelly and James fell out, but hey, here we are. All right, so here's the first one. All right, so they're giving it to Ben Stiller. They're saying that Ben Stiller is the number one, and he's not even like the modern crop of Nepo babies. But they're saying Ben Stiller deserves it. Ben Stiller has shown that he has talent and that he didn't necessarily need his family, although his family helped. Do not get it twisted. Let's see. What's the next one? Okay, so the second one, the girl who comes in second here these are Nepo babies that deserve it. I agree with this one. Look at this one, Elizabeth Olsen. Oh, is she a delight? My God, do I love Wanda. By the way, look at this. Look at Elizabeth Olsen. Okay, so Elizabeth Olsen is the one obviously the one in the middle. The other two are the Olsen twins. The Olsen twins are Elizabeth Olsen's older sisters. And it looks like, the two older sisters, the twins, the Olsen twins, they look like they have been through absolute hell. I mean, they just look like they probably reek of stale booze and cigarettes. And meanwhile, in the middle there, you got the little sister. She looks like an absolute angel, Elizabeth Olsen. She could have made it. She didn't need her older sisters, although, again, it helped. Who do you think got her the interview? Who do you think got her the auditions? Here's another one. I talked about him earlier today. I like this guy. This guy's like probably my favorite actor. Not movie star, but actor. Look at this. Benedict Cumberbatch. He comes in number 3 on the list of Nepo baby. I didn't even know that he was a Nepo baby. But yeah, apparently his mom and dad, as seen in the picture right there, his mom and dad are like famous British TV stars. So when he was starting, that would count. They don't have to be famous here, but they were famous in England and all of that. This one I don't like. I don't like this kid. And I didn't like this kid before his dad slapped Chris Rock. Jada Smith. I feel bad. I shouldn't be a grown-ass man on YouTube yelling, I don't like this kid. But I don't like this kid. Something about this kid bugs me. And you know what? He'll be fine. Me, some anonymous old man on Twitter saying, I don't like it, it's not going to hurt him. He's not going to give it a second thought. But apparently, according to the BuzzFeed audience, they believe that Jaden Smith, he has enough talent to be famous on his own right. Dan Levy. Here's a good one. Dan Levy. Because Dan Levy exists 100% because his dad agreed to star in his show Schitt's Creek. His dad, Eugene Levy, is a comedy legend, an icon, a god. So when they were trying to get Schitt's Creek, his Dan Levy show, greenlit, it was his dad coming aboard. Absolutely. So, does Dan Levy, he got himself in the door through his nepotism, but judging by the results, maybe he can stay. Because maybe he's apparently, I don't know, people love that show, Schitt's Creek. They love it. I think it's a great show. That's as far as I can go. I can't get all the way to, I love it. It's the greatest of all. No, it's a very good show. Schitt's Creek is a very enjoyable watch. It's the greatest show of all time. Okay. Let's hold your horses on that. Dakota Johnson. There you see her. Dakota Johnson. Comes in at number 6. On the list of people that the BuzzFeed audience feels, despite the nepotism, they could have made it in Hollywood on their own because they are very talented. Well, when you have talented parents, Dakota Johnson is, of course, the daughter of Melanie Griffith and Don Johnson. Granddaughter of Tippi Hedren. Who else do we have here? Yeah, this one certainly belongs on the list. Here's another Nepo baby, although an older one who certainly deserves. Mariska Hargitay. Here's why she made it. There was no nepotism involved in Mariska Hargitay. Mariska Hargitay's mother is Jane Mansfield, who was there she is on the right there, a blonde bombshell from the 1950s. Jane Mansfield died in like 1962 or something like that. Jane Mansfield has been dead a very long time. And Mariska's last name isn't Mansfield. It's Hargitay, which was the name of her father, who wasn't like he was a muscle guy. He was like one of the first Mr. Olympics, but he wasn't like a movie star. So it's a little bit more anonymous. And then by the time Mariska Hargitay started acting and going up for acting roles, her mother had been dead 30 years. So yes. I don't know how much Mariska Hargitay benefited from. Mariska Hargitay being Jane Mansfield's daughter is more trivia than anything else. Okay, I know who one of these is, and certainly one of them I think benefited. The other one I don't know. Zoe Kravitz. I like Zoe Kravitz. Zoe Kravitz is great. She's a beautiful young star. She's good in the Batman. She's good in a lot of stuff. But I don't know that she breaks through if she's not Lenny Kravitz and Lisa Bonet's daughter. And these other people, the Hadids, I have no idea where the Hadids came from. No clue. It's just within the last 10 years, we are lousy with Hadids. We are Hadid heavy in this country. I don't know where they came from. Nepotism? Really? So there was Hadids who were, I don't know. Let's see. All right, here's one. How about this one? Here's a girl, a young lady. I'm unfamiliar with her. I don't know if she's talented or not, but how about Gracie Abrams? Apparently, Gracie Abrams is a music performer. Who's this? What do we got? Oh, we got James. James is going to give it a try. James is here. James is going to give it a try. Did it work?
I cleared up some space, restarted, and this should at least last through the night.
Oh, all right. Well, I was getting ready to do this one bit and then wrap it up, but you want to keep going? You want to keep trying, or you want to just, you know what I'm doing?
What?
Improvising? No. I had a whole bunch of stuff planned for us. We had a full show. And actually, when Kelly dropped out, I was like, oh, shit, okay, so I don't want to do this then either. Because there's certain things that I think would be good for the three of us and, things that I'll save them. James, are you familiar with the term Nepo babies?
Nepo babies? No.
Yeah, Nepo babies. Apparently it's a thing. There's a big TikTok account that keeps track of Nepo babies. And then we are in an era of the Nepo baby in Hollywood. These are second, third, and sometimes fourth, fifth, and sixth generation Hollywood names, Hollywood families who are suddenly 22 years old and they've got full-on careers. And it's like, where did this person come from? Oh, yeah, that's Sean Connery's granddaughter. You know what I mean? So they're just keeping track of all of these, nepotism, these children who are seemingly becoming stars. And it's snarky because a lot of this TikTok is run by actors who aren't getting roles that maybe Stephanie Powers' daughter is getting. I don't know. We're looking at Gracie Abrams right here. Gracie Abrams has a record deal, and apparently she's becoming quickly critically acclaimed as a singer-songwriter, being compared to the likes of Taylor Swift. Her dad is J.J. Abrams.
Oh.
So, that's working for her.
Well, maybe she's good. Good. Look, sometimes I think I catch myself being a little too quick to dismiss people as nepotism when some of it's sort of the natural order of thing that the children are successful like the parents, like J.J. Abrams. I know being a pop star and being a director aren't like the same thing, but it's sort of the same direction in life. It's not like that he's a community college professor for pre-calculus. It's similar. And so you have a tendency to think like, well, the only reason people talk about Peyton Manning or Eli Manning is because his dad's Archie Manning. It's like, well, I mean, that's part of it.
Well, there's genetics when it comes to actual physical attributes and, being able to throw a football the way Archie did. A lot of that is genetics.
And it's, and a lot of it's genetics.
Is genetics too, though. Having a talent, for acting is certainly a genetic thing.
Yeah, well, and it's both, though. It's nature and nurture. Not only does Peyton and Eli have the genetic profile that's at least half a professional football quarterback, but also when I was 3 years old, my dad wasn't taking me to football camp in the summers, to make some extra money on the side, or because that's what dad was doing. Remember, they grew up around football players. They watched an inordinate amount of football compared to the regular person. They were probably sitting in the back while their dad is teaching all classes to these kids over and over. That was their childhood experience. And so it's not too crazy to think that Gracie Adams not only did have the genetic profile, Abrams, I said that wrong, but she's around these hyper creative people, and she has also a lot at her disposal. She, her dad's a director, which means he probably has access to a sound studio and a recording studio, and musicians are his friends, and people who do scores eat for dinner.
You just hit it. He's got musicians who are friends. You're talking about what is the hopper that this kid was birthed from, right? I mean, so we're talking about when she's getting dropped off from middle school in the carpool lane, the car in front of her is her classmate and her dad is, or her grandpa is Clive Davis. You know what I mean? We were talking about people who grew up in a an industry town, and the industry is being creative. That's what Hollywood is. You know, you can say it's an industry town. Oh, it's a movie town. No, it's not. It's a music town. It's a TV town. It's a digital creation town. It is, all of that kind of thing. So
it's real obvious. You can't argue.
If you're sleeping over at the homes of like other super successful and super connected people, those connections are just going to benefit you as you move forward. I mean,
yeah, and it really is that simple. That it seems like too simple of an explanation. Like, no, it's nepotism does exist, and yes, her last name and her connection to her father probably gets her some attention that comparably talented musicians wouldn't get. Yeah,
it fast
but that doesn't.
That's really what it is. It gets you the meetings that the kids that don't have nepotism in their blood can't get.
It just really it does really suck though, because this is in the arts where it's so subjective. She's not the best singer, but in the sporting world,
she's a songwriter. Her whole thing is that she's supposed to be this beautiful songwriter. So we'll see.
Right.
We start hearing about her in the next 6 months.
It's harder to argue in the sports world, like Patrick Mahomes just got all this attention as a football player because his dad played professional baseball. No, he's actually a really good quarterback. And like Steph Curry, just people like to buy his jersey because his dad played back in the day. No, he's a pretty good shooter. So it's harder to argue against in the sports world because it is objective, and the arts world is so subjective that anybody could be right. There's 10,000 bands that are better than the guys that are in the top 10 right now, and that sucks, but that's just a subjective line of work.
All right, let's move on now to we're looking at Miley and Billy Ray Cyrus. Now, this is an interesting one to me because without a doubt, 100%, Miley Cyrus got a TV show at 10 years old, probably because of the dudes that her dad golfed with, or because of her dad being famous. That's why she got that show. Okay, I mean, when she first got the show, Kelly had a little girl who loved Hannah Montana.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the big things about Hannah Montana was, she's Billy Ray Cyrus's daughter. That was like the whole, so there you go. That's the hook. But this is an interesting case because Miley Cyrus has now 10, 15 years maybe into whatever it is since she first burst on the scene. She has eclipsed her father 100 times over. To the point where her success is so big that she may have completely erased any calls or complaints about nepotism because Billy Ray Cyrus is a one-hit wonder. Miley Cyrus is an icon to a generation of girls. It's a little...
Yeah, more than one hit, that's for damn sure. And you're right. Her dad's initial flash in the pan, boy, he really struck while the iron was hot. If he parlayed that one dorky song into what ends up being a multi-generational empire. Yeah. But so Miley, is she doing like country music now? Because I keep hearing songs on the radio that sound like her, and I look it up like either on the display or on Shazam or whatever, and it's not her. And so I'm like, okay, so now there's a couple of country artists out there who sound just like Miley Cyrus. There's just a little twang in the guitar in the background.
Yeah, I don't know. I imagine at some point, she's probably like, I see Miley Cyrus at 40 years old being like a Barbara Mandrell. You know what I mean? Like being an established, more mainstream country artist. Where
she's going to do it.
Only because, right now she's dabbling in the club scene music, the dance club music, very urban, very young party girl kind of thing. But she can't do that at 40. So yeah, she's going to
No.
She's going to have to downshift and have a complete image restoration. And yeah.
Because I think the rule is at 40, you have to stop doing the white drugs.
Yeah, unless you're Madonna, then Madonna can carry on.
No. That's what happens that's what happens when you break the rule. You end up like Madonna. That's why at 40 you stop doing the white drugs. And
so Madonna is the cautionary trail.
Yeah, why Parker? And I just point you toward Madonna. That's why you stop doing the white drugs.
All right, how about these two? Do you know who these two are? This is an interesting one.
I don't.
That's the mom from Blackish. That is Tracy Ellis Ross, and that is her mom, Diana Ross. That's a big one. But again,
Diana Ross is like 80 years old, not one gray hair.
Yeah, look at her.
Good for her.
Mm-hmm. She is. She's like 80 years old. She's got to be. She's probably over 80 years old.
Here I am, like 45, just streaking gray off the sides here.
All right, there we go. There's the Diana Ross and Tracy Ellis Ross. I don't watch Blackish. All right, here you go. Here's one for you. I know you like this.
Oh, yes, I do. And I just found it out on this. You were the one who told me this.
Dallas Bryce Howard is Ron Howard's daughter.
Yes, the beautiful woman from that Jurassic World movie I just saw.
Mm-hmm. There she is right there. She is beautiful. And remember, we learned why she was named Dallas, because she was conceived while her dad was making a movie here. And I don't know, apparently, I don't know, but that's why she was conceived or born while he was filming a movie here in Dallas. So that's why she is Dallas.
Proud of that one.
Look, she is Dallas Bryce Howard is a terrific actress. She's, I think a lot of people might confuse her with Jessica Chastain because, they go up for the same kind of roles over and over again. I don't think there's anything so special about Dallas Bryce Howard that she would have been Dallas Bryce Howard if she wasn't Ron Howard's daughter. I think nepotism helped her. I think that it's just me, just gonna say.
Well, granted, she still has to have the merit to pull off the roles in these big ones. And if she would have sucked in the first Jurassic whatever movie, they wouldn't have had her for the one that they just remade. So she can do the job. But again, we're talking about acting. We're talking about people who used to play football or people who used to be like Ice-T or LL Cool J. People just stop what they're doing and they become actors. Some of these guys that you like, the Goodfellas, they were a cop up until like 3 months before that movie was filmed. And, it says a lot about the profession that people who are doing something else their entire life can just stop what they're doing and pick this up and be fine at it. Because you can't do that if you're a dentist. You're like, I think I'm going to fill some cavities today. No one can just transition into that and be good at it. But so for what merit there is, she does have it. But yes, without her name, the likelihood that she has this level of success goes to almost zero.
All right, how about these two? Look at this guy. You ever seen George Clooney's dad?
No. George Clooney's dad, somebody?
Yeah, George Clooney's dad is Nick Clooney. I don't know if he's somebody or not. But he was Nick Clooney was a Midwestern television, Cincinnati, I think was his big city. He was a big news anchor in Cincinnati his whole life growing up. But he's the brother of Rosemary Clooney, who was a big famous Hollywood singer and dancer in the 50s and the 60s. So George Clooney's aunt is Rosemary Clooney. Now, even George Clooney says that the whole reason he was able to stick it out was because he moved to Hollywood and he went and moved into his aunt Rosemary Clooney's guest house, in her Beverly Hills, mansion and all that stuff. And she used to have all of these old Hollywood parties. And George Clooney's like, hanging out at pool parties as a 20-year-old kid. And it's like Jack Lemmon and, check it out, Bob Hope has arrived. So, that's got to help to some degree with casting people and directors, right?
Well, the thing I've just found interesting about our line of work, because I didn't get into it until I was like my mid-20s, is that networking. They talk about how networking is important. There are values in these interpersonal relationships that are just as good as money in the bank. There is value to you going to that pool party when you're 20 and Jack Lemmon is there,
yep.
and he remembers, when Walter Matthau got pushed into the pool, and then they saw like Sophia Loren's titty or something. And so then you're seeing them like when you're in line in an audition, or when your name comes up in the little tight circle of who can we get to play this, and your name comes up, they'll remember you. And that has like a legitimate value. That intellectual property has value. Now, it can't be like exchanged for goods or services. I can't go get a cantaloupe for it. But there, the nepotism argument is based on like they didn't deserve it. Well, I mean, they kind of put themselves in a position to get lucky, if you want to call it luck, on top of them having a good name. So I've just always been amused, really, with the value of networking and the value of being in the right place at the right time, or knowing the right people or whatever. And it seems unfair, but there's value in just knowing people.
Yeah, nepotism is networking without the legwork. It's just networking that's been bestowed on you. You were born into this network of connections.
I like that, because the other guy who's lucky is you have the situation where maybe you're not related to the guy, but you just happen to be in his tight circle, in his world. Like Al with Kid Craddock was his limo driver or whatever for so long, and he ends up getting roped into the show because He was doing all these guest spots, and you can make the same point that Al would not be a successful syndicated radio host had he not been friends with Kid Craddock. Well, of course he wouldn't.
No.
And so, right.
Life is funny. You just meet somebody and it changes your entire life. All
yeah.
right.
So you're right. Nepotism is those relationships that you have just inherited by birth.
Yeah. Just let's see here. So this one here, this is the one that started it all off. This is one of the big Nepo babies of the moment. This is Maya Hawke, one of the stars of Stranger Things. Does everybody love Maya Hawke? There you see her with her mom, Uma Thurman, and her dad is, of course, Ethan Hawke. So she is sort of her and Zoe Kravitz are probably the two reigning champions of the Nepo baby phenomenon that is sweeping through Hollywood.
I forgot what it was called, but Ethan Hawke's new movie. I had my little movie critic when I host. She told me it was really good, and I'm starting to notice Ethan Hawke is making the transition to a serious actor. You know, he's just done so much for so long, and so many other guys just fall off. You know, like whatever happened to Seth Green, whatever happened to Jamie Kennedy, whatever happened to like Akon. You know, people. It fall off just naturally, right?
Yes, they do. Look, I agree.
But he's quietly putting it together.
I agree 100% with what you're saying. Ethan Hawke, you look at that dude's resume over the past 30 years of Hollywood.
It's getting really good.
It's not getting really good, dude. It has been really good. The problem with Ethan Hawke is that he stopped. He was on the precipice of being a very big leading man, A-list movie star. And Ethan Hawke went, you know what? I'm going to spend the next 10 years doing indie films. I want credibility. I want acting credibility. I want to do good movies. I don't want to do popcorn. And yeah, he isn't who's a contemporary of his that went. He's not Bradley Cooper, right? No, but he's Ethan Hawke. And when you look at the body of work that Ethan Hawke, my God, man, have you ever seen Boyhood, the Richard Linklater movie that he did? That is an absolute masterpiece of filmmaking. Or The Good Lord Bird, which was a miniseries that he just
heard of that.
The Good Lord Bird, he plays John Bryant. Remember the abolitionist from Bleeding Kansas and all of that?
John Brown.
Who did I say?
Brian.
I'm sorry. Yeah, John Brown. Yes. Yes. John Brown, the abolitionist. Good Lord Bird. Fantastic. He plays, he's a maniac. He's a lunatic. God speaks to him and he screams from the back of a horse. Ethan Hawke is a baller, man. I love it.
Good.
So what is his new movie?
I forgot what it was called, but it was described to me, and I don't remember the details. I just remember coming away from that description going, okay, that sounds awesome. I need to see that.
Jeff Ballard is right. Jeff Ballard is right. He's on Obi-Wan. He's the new Disney series.
No, that's Ewan McGregor.
Ethan Hawke is on some new Disney Star Wars series. No, you're right. You are right. Ewan McGregor is. What is Ethan Hawke?
I like Byron says new band name, Sophia Loren's Titty. I'm sorry for being so vulgar. Sometimes I take the liberties of being on a stream.
Did you say that?
I said titty. Oh, God dang it.
But did you say Sophia Loren's Titty?
Yeah. Like Walter Matthau fell in the pool and then he saw Sophia Loren's titty. I was just trying to come up with generational references.
All right. Hold on a second. So I am pulling up Ethan Hawke's filmography.
Okay. So another thing about the whole nepotism debate, though, is what it boils down to. If you get really, like, of course, nepotism is not fair. They didn't earn the fact that they have their connections to these people. That doesn't make it an injustice.
James, stop right there. Hold that thought. Let me just say this before we get too far downfield. It's not a new Star Wars thing that he's doing for Disney Plus. He's in the new Moon Knight, which is the new Marvel thing for Disney Plus. That's what it is.
Yes.
He's in the new
okay.
Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Well, look, if someone's going to go out and be rich and famous, they're going to have kids. And it's just a natural progression and something you can't avoid. If you're really upset at nepotism, then you're upset that some people are just more successful than others and they're allowed to reproduce.
Jealousy. Why does that guy not have to kiss all the ass that I have to just to get the same meeting? Why does that guy just walk into the meeting because his dad had lunch with the casting director? Yeah, it's jealousy. Right. That's all it is. We're allowed to be jealous.
And it sucks because I've had to not be like a nepotism apologist but like there was an opening for a national radio show because a guy left, and I was trying to get myself in the conversation for it, but I didn't even get an audition. But it was an opening I went for, and it ended up going to Meghan McCain. And my wife was kind of pissed. She's like, she's never hosted a radio show in her life. And you have all kinds of tape that shows like you're good. You have ratings, you have sponsors, like you actually have a resume and a history of being able to do this job. And she can just waltz in there because her last name's McCain. And I tell her, look, if she wants to get Lindsey Graham on the show, she can just text him. I can't. Right? I don't have connections to people that she has connections
that's a
to.
very magnanimous way of looking at it. That is a very
It's
good.
not fair that she has that, but
No,
John McCain was gonna have kids, and whoever his kids are gonna basically inherit his contacts. Those contacts have value, and it's not his fault. Just like Peyton Manning inherited Archie Manning's passing arm. Yeah, it's not fair that my arm's weaker than Peyton Manning's, but what do you want him to do? Not reproduce? And what it really comes down to is, look, too bad my dad didn't have more contacts. My dad was just content living in some tiny town in the middle of nowhere, working at the post office, So that's the legacy he left me. That's what I inherited. So if I really want to be mad, I need to be mad at my dad.
For being a loser. That's really
you don't have one string you can pull. You don't have like one powerful friend. You don't have like one favor you can call in. You've never done anything with your life, Dad. Yeah, that's kind of what it boils down to. Nepotism is just envy that someone's dad handed off of a better set of horses than you got.
Hey, did you want to do a monologue, or did you just?
No, I didn't. I didn't get to do that.
All right, then we won't do that. That's all right. We're basically. What do you got? You got anything today?
I wanted to talk about hanging out this weekend. I had a good time hanging out with you and Schwartzy and Ed and the whole crew there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, couple things. Before I was hanging out with you, we were at this place called Electric Paradise, and it's in Northeast Fort Worth, and it's a arcade that has classic arcade games, and you don't have to put quarters in them. It just has the credits are free. You pay $10 to just roam the earth there and play whatever you want all day. $10. So what a deal. And they sell beer there too. So that's where they really got me.
Are the kids or is it mostly adults?
It was mostly kids. I think the beer's there just to pacify the adults so they'll stay longer, right, before Junior has to go home. But they had like a little birthday party room up front. And it was amazing because you don't have to pay money for any of the games. They also have a little station set up with like an old school Nintendo and just a rack of games. They have a Super Nintendo. They have a Nintendo 64. They have like a Sega Genesis. It's really cool, the whole setup they got going on in there. But the games, they have like the authentic arcade games from your childhood. And man, if you want to feel like you just stepped through a wormhole, like you feel like you woke up in Stranger Things, that whole period piece just zoom, because it's the low lights, the lack of daylight, the sounds, the blinking, the chatter, everyone's short, like a bunch of kids running around. And I don't know when the last time you were in an arcade, but it wouldn't be the same because the games look different and it's brighter and the colors are different. It's not all primary colors and hard 8-bit beeps coming at you. There's like MP3s of Jay-Z playing. But this place will mess with your head if you walk in it, Pugs.
So you say, I don't know when the last time you were in an arcade. I as it happens, I spend a fair amount of time in an arcade because I've got a 13-year-old son who is a game freak, and we go to Dave & Buster's all the time. So I mean, is that what you're talking about when you say not the same?
Not the same.
No.
Okay. Dave & Buster's is well lit. Dave & Buster's smells like food. Dave & Buster's has carpet.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Dave & Buster's is clean.
And the games that they do have fantastic graphics, and they're playing like Beyonce or something, not like beep, 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 beep,
right.
Beep,
yeah. They pay for the licensing of all the important tracks. Yeah.
Right.
So you're saying it's a little bit, so it's not at that level. It's a little bit more fall off the back of a truck kind of vibe.
It's where you went when you were 12.
So it's literally like walking into the 1980s again. It's like
It's
it's
like
a
walking into
1980s arcade.
yeah.
Donkey Kong, Mrs. Pac-Man,
They have an original Donkey
Galaga.
Kong. They have that one. They have the original Pac-Man. They have the original Mrs.
Zaxxon.
Pac-Man.
You got
They have that.
Zaxxon.
They have games you forgot about. They, not only do they like have asteroids and whatnot, but they have like the original track and field. They have Afterburner. They have
All the knockoffs.
yeah. And
Zaxxon.
so
And
then they
Galaga,
have set up
Galaxon.
a Mortal Kombat next to a Mortal Kombat 2. They didn't have 3, but they had a Mortal Kombat 4. They had Tekken. They had Virtua Fighter. They had
So
Street
what were
Fighter
you doing
2.
there? What was the whole reason that you went there? I mean, it seems like you
I
drove
hadn't
all the way
seen.
from Tyler.
Yeah, two of my college roommates at ETBU live in like Keller, North Fort Worth, over by Texas Motor Speedway. They live not
That
far
sounds
from each other.
ETBU
Huh?
sounds made up. ETBU sounds
Oh,
made up.
East Texas Baptist University. You haven't heard of it? Oh, geez,
Sounds made up.
academic heritage out the wazoo. No, it's a small college over. You didn't know where I went to college this whole time? You just know me for 20 years. That's all.
I knew you went to some college I'd never heard of.
I know you went to the fake Columbia.
Oh, I went to the real
Hey,
Columbia.
let's take Mason then, because I told my kids about it, and now they want to go. So I think I'm taking my kids up there in like a week or two. Want to go?
Yeah, if you come through town, we can make that work. Yeah.
I think
My kid would like that.
We might do it this Friday.
I have my kid this Friday, so we could make that work. Yeah, we could make that work. So where is it? Where we gotta go?
It's northeast Fort Worth, like right as 183 turns into 820. It's a couple exits down. It's like Denton Highway and 820.
Northeast Fort Worth. So
you want me to give you a ride? I'll just pick you up if I got a big old minivan. It'll be great.
Yeah, come here, and we'll all go together. I mean, you're already coming.
Yeah. Okay.
Town,
Good.
Right?
Yeah. And you're on the way. You're exactly on the way. It's called Electric Starship. Al, thank you for asking.
All right.
Electric Starship.
All right.
They don't have a full bar though. It's just beer.
That's fine. Well, you're driving, so I'll be
okay.
Hey, you didn't go ahead. You want to continue on about Saturday night? Because I did want to mention one thing to you. How come you haven't mentioned that I don't have a beard anymore? How come you didn't notice that? Because
I was kind of noticing just the mustache, and I'm like, did this dude just push out a mustache over the weekend? But
no.
Was this on purpose?
Well, it is directly related to us going out on Saturday night. I woke up on Sunday morning, and it was just, oh my God, there was a smell. It was just turning my stomach. And I was sipping whiskey all night. And I guess whiskey had gotten into my beard. So I woke up and my beard was just soaked in stale whiskey smell. So first thing I did, I woke up on Sunday morning and I went, okay, well, this has to go now. I'm going to vomit if I have to smell this for the next couple. I mean, I could have just washed my face, but it was so gross. It was so, I just had to get rid of it. All right. So then you came and you joined us. We were out here in the park.
Yeah, you kind of skipped a step with the stale whiskey beard. But yeah, after Electric Starship, you come back down to 183, and then you cut across on Mockingbird. No, there's Pugs and Schwartzy and Ed at the Inwood Tavern.
And Schwartz's kid. How funny was that?
Yeah, Ryan. And then wasn't his name Ryan?
Yeah, hanging out with Schwartz's kid, Ryan. That was fun. He was a cool guy. I mean, I remember that kid when he was like 3. So now to have him be 23, it's weird.
Yeah, but you and I both do like we put on our dad hats, and we're like, that's me in like 9 years. My kid's just turning 12 in a couple weeks, and your kid's what, 13? So that's 13. You and
just turned 13.
Yeah, it's you in like 8 years. What's that like hanging out with your kid? He's 21.
Can't wait for it. Are you looking forward to it? I can't wait for it. I think it'll be awesome. I can't wait to hang out with my kid and his running buddies. 22 years old. As a matter of fact, if I am in a situation and, we all have our dreams and our hopes and our, we want to be, when he goes off to college, I want to rent an apartment in his college town. I want to be
That's there. Not cool.
Well, I'm not going to hang out with him every night, but I just want to be there in town. I just want to be there in town when he, shut up.
Well, yeah, but look, I also recognize that what we saw on Saturday. Did I freeze up? What's going on? Well, I also noticed that what we saw on Saturday was not the normal course of thing. Ryan is going to University of Oklahoma in Norman, so Schwartzy just went long spans of time without seeing him, and so we got to see like the rare glimpse where they do get to hang out, and that's the part I'm worried about. Is like when the kids leave, and I'm so used to seeing them all day, every day. I work out the house, so especially during the summer, all 4 of them are just constantly up my butt, and then just to go like 3 months without seeing a kid, That's gonna make me
Well, you got it
nauseous.
staggered, though. You got it staggered. You're gonna lose them one at a time over the
Oh,
course
I
of
dude, it feels weird, like, when one of our kids goes and spends the night with a friend, and then I gotta run around with 3 kids instead of 4, and I don't know, it just feels like you have a flat tire. You're like, "This is weird."
maybe your daughter will get pregnant. Maybe she'll give you a grandchild in a couple of years.
Oh, thanks,
Maybe.
Pugs. Thanks.
Well, she's gonna go off to college. She's just gonna leave you a little something behind to raise,
I
just
don't
so
think
you
that's
don't
the
feel left
solution
out.
I prefer.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that was fun on Saturday. Good time. We went to a couple of bars. The beautiful Mrs. Parker was there. Dude, why did you let me? Why? You know? Okay, so I have people I know back in Illinois. They're two sisters. Okay, and their
Okay.
names are Monique and Simone. And I spent the better part of an hour on Saturday night referring to your lovely wife Monique as Simone because I was confused. And I even called her Simone to your face a number of times, and you never corrected me. Why didn't you correct me? Why did
I
I
don't
have to
know.
be so embarrassed?
I don't know.
They're
I
both
thought maybe
beautiful
you're
French
making
girl
some
names.
pop culture reference that was before my time. Like, maybe that was like the redhead in Welcome Back, Kotter, and
So you've just revealed to me that half the shit I say to you, you just nod and agree with and don't know the reference.
now
Because
sometimes it happens, and I just roll through it, and it's not like the conversation hinges on it. And did he say Simone, or did he just say Moan, or like
Simone,
Monique, or whatever, dude?
Monique.
And
Yeah.
plus, like, behind you was 6 of the most beautiful 50-year-olds Dallas has to offer. What was with that table? Remember, I pointed out, like, what's with all the gilfs? Kind of
Where? I don't remember that. I must not have been
from
looking.
where I was
Nothing
sitting.
wrong with it.
The table
Was,
to our left had like
was this at the Ivy or at the Inwood Tap?
this was at the Inwood Tavern.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So at Inwood Tavern, if you were one of the ladies that was like 50 and you and your 4 blonde friends or whatever were sitting next to a bunch of less than attractive dudes, right, in the side room, y'all were all beautiful. Y'all were all, they look like Heather Locklear almost. I wasn't drunk, so
What
this
did
isn't a
we
beer
look like?
goggles thing.
What did we look like? If you didn't know who we were, like, what did we look like? Because we had two obvious 22-year-old guys drinking and partying at our table. And then you
Hmm.
had you and your wife. And then there was me and Ed. What do we look like to people? Were we a birthday party? Like what is the circumstance that brought this particular table together? People who look like they would never otherwise hang out. I was thinking about that when we were sitting there. I'm like,
Yeah, we
this
look
is
like what was it, Meet the Millers or whatever, where Jason Sudeikis and what was it, Jennifer Aniston. Remember that one where they had to pretend to be a family and they had the 2 younger kids? That's kind of what I felt like.
Oh yeah, all right. Well, it
Yeah.
still was a nice night. We had a good time. And then you stayed here at the house, and we kept the dog under wraps. And I saw you folded your blankets like well-raised people. Your parents can be proud. You left the house nice. Did
Yep.
you ever see E? Did he ever come home?
I did not see E for 1 second,
All right.
and we just left before everyone woke up and drove straight to Buc-ee's.
All right. Very good. Byron says, with that mustache, you look like you should be selling car speakers. Okay, I'll take it. I am. I've decided that I'm going to keep this mustache. Uh, I'm going to keep it at least as a mustache. I'm trying to get used to it.
Mason's gonna hate it.
It's my Dylan Cease. Now he'll love it because Dylan Cease is a Chicago White Sox pitcher who grew his mustache like this, and he leads Major League Baseball in strikeouts, and
Oh,
is one of the most dominant pitchers in all of baseball this year. Except for some reason, he didn't even make the All-Star team, even though everybody who did statistically is having a far
wait.
worse season than he is. And
What?
he grew his mustache like this, and in solidarity of people ignoring Dylan Cease, I'm going to be wearing a Dylan Cease mustache.
Hey, you're a bigger baseball fan than me.
Yep.
We're the Millers. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff just got it. We're the Millers. That's the what I was trying to think of. That movie with
Okay.
Jason Sudeikis. That's what we look like. Is We're the Millers. Anyway, how excited are you about the this Otani guy?
Mm-hmm.
So for people who don't know what I'm talking about, there's actually a pitcher in baseball who can hit.
Shohei Ohtani. He is
Yeah,
probably
and
one of the
he's
best pitchers in baseball and one of the best hitters in
yeah,
baseball.
he's actually a really good
Great.
pitcher, and then he's like a really good hitter too. And
Mhm.
when's the last time we've had this combination? I can't get my baseball fan friends to shut up about him, so I wanted to ask you about that. just heard a ton of it lately.
Never, but we've never been allowed to see this combination. You know, we had Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth was the last time that there was somebody who was a dominant pitcher, but then also a great bat. And at that point, was it Miller Huggins? I don't know who it was. Whoever was in charge of the Yankees, they decided that they were going to have him just concentrate on hitting. And then for the last 80 years of baseball, it had been widely considered dangerous to take someone who could hit and pitch and to allow them to do both. The thinking was you get them to put one down and focus exclusively on the other. Well, now all of a sudden comes this kid out of the Japanese leagues. The Japanese leagues don't have this same philosophy. And this kid has matriculated through all the different levels of baseball, being the best pitcher in their league and the best hitter. And now he's in baseball and he's an absolute freak show.
So I as a casual, I'm not a big baseball fan. I'm a casual baseball fan. I like the sport, but I do not watch Major League Baseball for a number of grievances, which we've expressed previously. But
Boring.
this is one of the philosophies that has bothered me about baseball, that I've always argued the fact that who says pitchers can't hit? Why do they get up there and give them some batting practice? When they're going to get injured, taking some swings. Shut up.
I'll tell you who says that: the people who are destroying baseball. Famously, they go by the traditionalists, baseball traditionalists. They suck. They're the people who are against everything that is fun, every interesting innovation that has been brought into Major League Baseball over the past 50 years.
I am not.
Traditionalist has fought.
I am not a fan of the DH, and I think I'm in the minority on that one.
I love the DH.
Do more people agree with you or me on the DH?
It's pretty much split, but there is one side that is just right, and that's the side that wants the DH, because that's why there is a DH. It's the right side. It makes for more exciting games. The fans, whether they admit it one-on-one or not, enjoy games that are 10, score 10 runs than games that, watch a pitcher strike out 4 times.
I feel like the DH is the crutch that is propping up the failed philosophy that pitchers shouldn't have to learn how to bat.
Pitching has changed. Pitching is so dominant now. Look, we're running out of time here. If you really want to get into a conversation about how launch angles and statistics have changed the way baseball is played now, and I'm not even saying for the better, but fearing that I'd be called a traditionalist, I like the new brand of baseball, but yeah, it is definitely different. It's way different.
Well, is everyone else going to try and do this Ohtani thing where they actually teach their pitchers how to bat and hope for the best?
Well, no. Look
he's
what
just
they're saying here. He's a mutant. Yeah, he's like when they can try. Hey, man, there's been pitchers throughout the years who've been.
John Olerud was coming into the majors as look out. This is a pitcher that can hit, and it never really worked out. What happened with that?
First baseman. Yeah, I don't know, but Olerud was a first baseman. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just think. I think Ohtani's a freak show.
They don't do that to the shortstop. Like, dude, you should focus on making diving catches and not have to worry about batting. Right? They don't do that to him. They just do it to the pitcher.
It's different.
They don't do it to the catcher. You need to worry about squatting all day and not have to worry about hitting. Your knees. Can't. The
pitcher is not considered the same thing as a field player. So, your shortstop's your first baseman, your catcher should be.
We made Michael Jordan play defense.
Well, yeah. Center field. I'm telling you, Michael Jordan could have been a great center fielder. Seriously, if he had instead of gone basketball and just concentrated on baseball, you've seen Michael Jordan's body, right? He's an Adonis.
Nobody. Doesn't he have a huge strike zone, though? Isn't it impossible?
Well, that is a problem. He's a little big. Yeah, he's got to shorten his swing up. And he was working on that when he decided to quit. Michael Jordan, there was a picture at this bar that I hang out in Chicago, where right when you walk in the door, it's a
hit your Michael Jordan bone, huh?
It is a full life-size photo, like one of those. Remember one of those wall things they used to have?
Fat heads.
It's like a giant fat head of Michael Jordan in a White Sox uniform back from when he was, playing baseball. There's never been anyone who has ever put on a baseball uniform that looks better in a baseball uniform than Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan.
Stop.
He's ripped and he's just tall and he's long. Oh, what?
Just kiss him on the mouth. Jesus Christ.
He was better as a youth. He was better at baseball than he was.
I would like to say thanks to Ed for buying me unknown numbers of drinks for me and the wife. That he was super nice with that. So thank you, Ed.
Yeah, I came home and I looked at my debit card the next day, and I'd only spent $40. That's crazy. Somebody was buying drinks. It was Ed, huh? Figures.
Ed,
Thank you, Ed.
Radio Misfits rule.
I know Schwartz had it early. Schwartz wouldn't let anybody buy anything early, so he was picking that up. I always let him do it because
go to radiomisfits.com, you losers.
He's a wealthy surgeon, don't you know? So, if he wants to pay for drinks, that's fine.
I think he makes more money than I do.
I think he might. I think he might have a nice. I mean, sure, he's messing around with
if that's possible. I mean, yeah.
But his day job, he can keep his day job. It's what pays the bills. All right, James. Oh, what a dick! Did you see what he did? Did you see what he just did? He just okay. All right, guys. Love y'all. Tip the show if you can. But we'll see you tomorrow. High noon, right? We saved the show. Thought we were going to not do a show. And then look, we saved the show. I'm glad we did. It wasn't the show we planned, but it's the show that we did. And I hope it's the show that you have just enjoyed. We'll see you tomorrow at noon for more High Noon with me, Pugs Moran, on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. Never-ending quest.